everybody. Peace. I want to speak about prison and why, and I want to answer the question from my perspective. Why do prisons segregate inmates based on race? This happens in the federal system. This happens in a lot of state systems. A lot of state systems, it doesn't happen. In a lot of state systems, people group together based on who they're friends with and not necessarily by race. But racial segregation is one of the things that tends to happen in correctional facilities. And the reason why that happens is because, well, first of all, when you get off the bus and you arrive to a state system or the federal system, the correctional officers are going to ask you, who do you run with? And they're already going to have a piece of paper with all of the different quote-unquote groups. And they're going to ask you, do you run with the Crips? Do you run with the Bloods? Where are you from? I'm from Virginia. Do you run with the Virginia card? No, I don't. I'm not a gang member. I'm a man. I stand on my own. Okay, well, you're from Virginia, so you're going to be with the Virginia card. Oh, okay, you're white. You're going to be with the Woods, the Wood Pal. You're going to be with the white guys. And a lot of people say they do that because they want to make sure that a particular person can find strength in numbers. You know, they segregate. Well, a lot of people say that the inmates segregated the system. They're the ones responsible for the segregation, and they've done that to take care of members of their own race, prevent members of their race from being assaulted, taken advantage of, and stuff like that. But I beg to differ. I don't think from the beginning, I don't think the inmates set it up that way. I think the correctional facility, and I think people who study, the people who the correctional facilities go to for their information, like they consult with people who train them on how to run their facilities. And I think a bunch of psychologists got together and told them the best way for you guys to organize your system is by race. And that's because if a conflict happens, instead of having to lock down the entire prison or locking down that entire race, you can segregate a group within a group. For example, let's say you got the black car. We're in a federal prison and we got the black car. The black car it's made up of a bunch of different subgroups. You've got the black car in general, the black group, inmates who identify as black, and then you break it down to the subgroups. You've got the black guys from Virginia, the black guys from New York, the black guys from New England, the black guys from California, the black gangster disciples, the black Crips, the black Bloods. You've got all these different groups within the black group. So if one group of blacks starts a riot or fights the police, instead of having to lock down the entire black group, the entire black race, all you have to do is lock down that particular group that was responsible for the event. So, okay, we're going to lock down the black Virginia guys instead of all the blacks. So basically they break down things by race because it makes it more efficient when it comes to administrating the facility, okay? And also it takes away people's individual. Usually there's a shot caller. There's somebody who's in charge of a particular car or group, you know. So if you're black and you're a part of the Virginia car, there's going to be somebody who has more influence than anybody else. His opinion matters. He's the go-to guy. He's basically the representative for the Virginia car. And you got like a Senate. There's a Senate of people who represent the different groups. And when something happens, they get together and they have a meeting about it, you know. So if there's a conflict between the black and whites, the Virginia black guys, and let's say a group of white motorcycle white gang, shot caller for that particular motorcycle gang and the shot caller for the black group is going to get together and iron issues out. So basically, it just makes it more efficient to administrate the institution. And instead of, because you got to understand, one of the philosophies of the correctional institution is to make the inmates happy. That's why they allow drugs to come through. That's why they allow them to have contraband. They understand that if they are too hard on the inmates and if they make their lives difficult, because the inmates have to live there 24/7, that's their home. Correctional officers only come there for a shift. So if they make life unbearable for these guys, they're going to make life unbearable for the correctional officers. They're going to fight them. They're going to stab them. So if they're busy and they're occupied with contraband, drugs, and alcohol, they're less likely to fight, and they're less likely to want to lose those privileges. So a lot of times when there's an issue with a particular car or group, correctional officers will come to them and say, hey, we know you guys got drugs in, know you guys got alcohol. If you don't tighten that guy up, that guy in your car just caused a problem with another car. If you don't get rid of this guy, he's gonna mess it up for everybody. So that's why racial segregation exists within the penitentiary system, federal and state, because it allows for an efficient way of governing the inmates. You know, you can segregate the inmates that are responsible for particular issues. And also, when everybody's in a group, it takes away your individuality. So if one person does something bad, it can affect the whole group, and therefore that's going to entice everybody to be on their best behavior. Because if you do something wrong, it's going to impact your entire group. If one guy does something wrong, they're going to lock up everybody from his group. Like if they're investigating a guy from California and he's a black guy, they're going to lock up everybody from California. Like if he gets caught with drugs or something like that, they're going to lock down everybody from California who's black. So it makes it more efficient to govern the place, and it makes the inmates more aware of their actions, because they don't want to make a mistake and it impact their entire group, their entire car, and then they're going to be ostracized. Peace.